Hello everyone, myself Mithun Gowda, and we welcome you to the Motorcycle Podcast. So yes, Shashi, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so today is our first episode of this podcast. This is all about motorcycling. So here we're going to be discussing about the motorcycling stories, bikes and anything and everything about motorcycling. So Mithun, why don't we start about introducing ourselves?
Ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So as Shashi just said, it's gonna be everything with respect to motorcycles. What the rides are, what are the stories behind the motorcycles, the journey, everything. And to start off, as the pilot episode, we'll be telling you our story rather, and it'll be like how we got into motorcycling and what do we do, what have we done, what are we gonna be doing in the future, what is this podcast all about. All of that will be clear and discussed here. So to tell you more about myself, most of you know me with my Insta handle enfieldergowda. So I've been riding for the past almost 10 years now, almost, and I ride a Desert Storm, not this, the actual life size one. So it's been an amazing journey with the motorcycle itself. But I've never been like most people say, right? I've been riding from a very young age. Like you have shared your stories.
Correct.
Your father would have helped you, to learn the motorcycle as soon as you're above that 18-year-old age, all of that. But for me, at the very early age, I started driving first. I was not into motorcycles first.
Nice.
So I was into driving very early age. Not really proud of it now with respect to all the safety and everything. But yeah, back in the days, it didn't matter. Even though my father was not really into it, like he didn't want me to do it, but I was kind of rebellious in that matter. I went out of my way and somehow got to learn how to drive all of that and started drifting cars, all of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So. And motorcycles in the earlier days, it was not really an interest rather for me. But the very first thing with respect to two wheels, what I can recall is maybe around third or fourth standard when I was. All of our cousins were in our native, and there was this legendary vintage bike, Hero Pug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah. I remember
So that was my uncle's bike. He had left it in the farm. Like we all had visited. Like we were about 5-8 kids. Almost same age. And he had left the key in. And I was the one who got into, turned the key on, tried to kickstart it. Took like 2 to 3 attempts, but I kind of did it. Didn't ride anything. Did start it. That's the very first. Like a close encounter or a very personal thing. Other than that, my dad used to ride a Chetak. I was just another pillion or something. So whenever it was parked, I was just like a normal kid, like just to fiddle with the handlebar and everything. So and then after that, maybe around fifth, sixth standard or somewhere, a cousin of mine wanted to teach me how to ride because he was already riding. Though the same age, he was already riding. He tried to teach me. I was not really confident, and then I had left it. And then the car thing happened. 2-3 years, just the cars and everything. And then this funny incident happened one time. A friend of mine wanted his bike to be given to him in his office from our locality.
Okay.
So two of us took 2 bikes and wanted to give him the bike and then come back in the other one. So I was supposed to be riding, and my riding was so bad, right? And I was so nervous riding in the traffic and all. Used to wear the helmet. Not used to wear the helmet and everything. So all of this happened, and I was really bad at it. Like the bike used to get shut off in the middle of the road. All of those things happened. Cut to 3 more years later, 2012, I booked this beautiful machine, the Royal Enfield Desert Storm, a 500cc, and then this is something like I waited about 7.5 months for just to get the delivery, and then the bike comes in, and slowly I start riding it just like around the locality to go to work and everything, and a couple of months later I have my very first crash. So it's like I told you, right? I have not been into much of motorcycling, and the thing is, I was not used to handle this because the bike itself is about 200 kgs and it's so powerful, and I'm not used to handle all of those. I had like multiple crashes and everything, and then I decided, okay, wait, there's something wrong with me. I'm not doing something right here, right? And then I thought, okay, let me ride with some other people who would actually, ride frequently, ride more and everything. And then the very first thing as a group I rode was the Independence Day. RD Club of Bangalore, they used to host the Independence Day ride in Nandi Hills back in 2014, I guess. So 2 years after I got the motorcycle, I'm actually going to an official ride. Until then, it was just commute and maybe 2-3 rides hardly with the friends and everyone. So that's the actual official, the usual stuff. We met up at the ST Mall, Hebal, and then we went in a convoy, all of that. And then I met a group of enthusiastic riders over there. So also, I don't know. This is something like, which goes on the lines of destiny. So on that day is when my riding club, Biking Buddies, we started. It was officially formed on that particular day. So because that was about 3,500 odd bikes on one particular location. So it's to give you a gist, 100cc RX is trying to compete with a 1000cc R1. So that was the chaotic mindset over there. No rules, no norms, nothing. So Biking Buddies was formed in the idea of, there should be some decency in riding. You shouldn't be like just any Tom, Dick and Harry is riding, and you should just do with your club as well. And then we started the club with the intention of, making safety as a priority, going in a group ride. Yeah, all of that.
So when was all this started? So you were telling about the Independence Day ride, right?
Yeah.
So which year was this?
2014. So 2014, nice. August 15th, we met at the the Nandi Hills Independence Day ride. So in between all of that chaos, after the ride was done, okay, some of the people who thought like, oh no, let's bring in some reform here. So then it was started, and then I started riding with Biking Buddies. Slowly, steadily, I started improve my riding style, because when I was riding with a group, right, there was a norm, there was a flow. Like, everybody, let's say we are riding about 25 bikes, and all of those 25 bikes in the convoy go in a single formation. Everybody rides at a single pace. So that brought in a lot of reform in my riding style, and then I could control the bike more. I could get on to, okay, this is how the actual riding happens. Not just open the throttle and then suddenly break it. Nothing. There's a flow. So you have to understand that flow. You have to go with that flow. And then I started slowly sweeping with the rides, leading the rides, marshalling the rides. Biking Buddies has been an immense effect over me. And then I really I carry it close to my heart. And then a couple of years later, what happened was Royal Enfield. So I started working for a Royal Enfield dealership. I went in, I asked them, I'm a crazy biker. I keep, riding, and I want you to hire me so that I can ride with your company.
So something you want to start a profession with biking itself.
Yeah. So I have a passion now. I wanted that to be converted into my profession.
Yeah.
So I go there, I tell all of these things. They say like, what? All of that is fine, but we can not do it like whatever you're asking. We have, what's that? We have sales here, we have service. You can pick either of the two, and then you have to work there. Maybe sometime in the down the lane, we can see something. That was the silver lining for me. Okay, someday down the lane, okay, I started, and then I think in the first 2 weeks itself there was a ride. So that's how it started almost, and then a couple of months later I started, I could convince them, telling, what, this is also important, that's a community out there. So we can build that community, we can build that, obviously it will turn into service, sales, all of that will come in return, but then again we can build up a community. So that happens almost a year and a half of it. I was there, and then Biking Buddies every now and then was happening, all of this is there. And then I started these road safety initiatives. So I told you, right, road safety is something again very close to me, because I was not the one who used to follow those rules. I was not aware of those rules, and I was not aware of how to actually write that in a decent or in a normal way. So instead of me trying to change someone else, let me change myself. I started implementing those rules, following those rules, implementing those norms, and then even more tried to refine my riding style. And something I wanted to give it back to the society, because again at Biking Buddies there's a lot of charity we were doing all of that, and then I wanted to bring it back to the motorcycling. So what better than implementing road safety, right? We've done about 4-5 campaigns with respect to road safety. We've tied up with schools, colleges, hospitals, and then we tried to bring in an impact, and then the impact didn't happen. It was like awareness was trying to reach out, but it was again our streets, our people. It should start from the ground, grassroots level. So still working on where to actually, how exactly to start it in that grassroots level. So that's one thing, and then until now it's been a good journey. We recently celebrated our 7th year anniversary Biking Buddies, and I've been having this beautiful machine for almost 10 years now. And nice. Yeah, so not this one, the actual life size one. So yeah, other than that, going forward, so with respect to this podcast, going forward, we'll be having a lot of discussions with respect to motorcycles, the journey, the stories, and everything. If you have any queries, if you have any suggestions, you can just keep it coming to us, comments and DMs and everywhere. And then personally, I have a lot of motorcycling bucket list to be ticked off as well, so that will also be discussed. And right now, let's hear from Shashi, like what was his story, how was it for him, and what actually went, like how he got into motorcycling.
So hi guys, so my name is Shashi Kumar. So everybody know me as SK Motography through Instagram feed. So that's what I do as a profession. So I'm an automotive photographer. Coming to my motorcycling story,
yeah.
So I ride a Pulsar 220. It's a 2012 model. So how I got it? I had to convince my parents about it.
Okay, tell me about it. That's the best.
It was a big motorcycle back then.
Correct.
So I had to convince my parents about it. And the day when I told this that I want a motorcycle. And they were like, yeah, anything, you can get a moped or a 150cc, which is like more than enough. I was like, no, I don't want anything. I want a motorcycle called Pulsar 220. So my parents were like, what is that?
Okay.
So then I still remember, going to Bajaj showrooms and getting the brochures. So I didn't want to talk to my parents directly about this. Like I want such a big motorcycle, I used to keep the brochure every time, my dad comes back from work, right? I used to keep it on, the table and, just walk away silently.
Yeah, wait for him
so that, he comes and checks out what that is about. So one final day, he was like, what is this motorcycle? Every day you keep talking about it and,
Correct.
So I had to show him what that is, like I showed him pictures and everything.
Correct.
So one fine day, my parents came to me and they were like, the motorcycle which you were talking about, we saw that on roads. I think it's a fast motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I think this is like too much for you for your age. So my father was like, you get a license. Once you cross 18, you get a license. Let us talk about it after that. Okay. But still, my dad was not convinced about it, since it's a
powerful
motorcycle. Yeah. So those times people were riding it without helmets and everything. There was no much awareness about safety gears and everything, since it was back then. So then finally somehow I convinced him. So we got the motorcycle.
Okay.
We used to go for small rides, 10-15 kilometers in highway nearby. So one fine day we had stopped for a breakfast. So it was all friends, a group of friends and everybody. So I saw a group of people who were riding in a formation, like wearing all
all the riding gears.
Those jackets looked very, strange or unique, however you call it.
Yeah, weird. Maybe on that point of time, you felt it weird.
We were not, not used to seeing all these things on a, motorcycle.
Okay.
They were wearing all big gloves and helmets. They looked very different compared to, all the other people on road. So I was like very curious to know what these people were doing, where they are headed, why they are riding in such a huge numbers. That is not one or two. The group which I saw, it was almost 15 to 20 bikes. So all were riding in a formation. So then this thing happened. So I was very curious, what these people are up to. Then there were these super bikes also, on the road. So we never, we just took it, okay, they're heading somewhere. So after that, we returned home and everything happened. So one fine day, me and my, friends gang, so like group of friends we were. So we planned to ride to Nandi Hills.
Okay.
Like this is something similar to your story, again.
Most of our Bangalore bikers would have had their first biking experience.
Yeah, exactly.
At Nandi.
So that was a ride when Nandi Hills was something which was 60 kilometers away from Bangalore. It was a destination for us. We went top. So then, since I had a Pulsar 220, so when I reached the top, so I saw 30 to 35 bikes.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell? 30
all 35
all a Pulsar 220s.
220s,
I was like, oh my god, what is this?
The uniformity would have,
uniformity and there were very few color options available that time. One is blue and one is black.
Black, red maybe.
Black, red was only one bike I saw, I think.
Okay.
So I was like amazed. Like, what is this? So many bikes. As everybody does now. I stood next to it, clicked some pictures. I even went and parked my bike next to them. So that
Were you photographing? Like, were you into photography back then as well? It was not started yet?
I was into photography, but it was all about this hobby and
like a hobby,
else. Like a hobby.
Good.
So I did have a digital camera. So it's a digicam which you call.
Okay, yeah.
So I used to take pictures, but it was never a like a go-to thing because I was in college that time. So this was started. Then I gathered up some courage and went and spoke to one guy there.
Okay. Who's this guy? Yeah.
He's a part of that club.
Okay.
So I went and spoke to him and I was like straight up asked him, what is this?
Okay.
So it's like this is a club which which is only to Pulsar 220 owners in Bangalore.
Okay. Yes.
I was like, how do I join this club? Straight up question was that.
Yes.
So then what happened? He was like, he gave me few instructions that you have to send a request on Facebook page. Okay. So we have a group in Facebook and you can send us a request and we have few procedure to follow, like the basic questions and everything.
Correct.
So that was the day. Then I was into their club. So they added me to their group. And
so what was the name of this club?
Coming to the name of the club,
okay.
I have to tell this. So this is called Masked Bandits, Bengaluru, sorry. So this club was all about Pulsar 220 and it was only about Pulsar 220. So I got to know about the name after that. So after I spoke to that person from the club, and they had stickers as well. Kind of.
Tell me about it.
Something, yeah. And every bike had that sticker. It's not that one bike had the other one then.
Yeah.
All the bikes were all uniformly parked. The parking formation what they've done was like it caught everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Not only me.
Yeah.
So then this thing happened. So I get a message one day telling that there's this ride happening. So that was the first ride. They had invited me. First thing is first. Meetup point, and they were like, "You guys, should be here at this time, and we'll be starting from Bangalore." And so I went there. I was the first person to reach because ride anxiety. Like the whole night I didn't sleep.
Tell me about it. That's especially the first group ride.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the whole night I was awake, and then next day morning they had told 6 o'clock or 5:30 is the meetup time. I was there by 5.
Oh, okay.
So I was waiting for other people. Then slowly people started coming.
I think everybody would have ended up around 7 o'clock. Maybe you would have waited 2 hours. That happens on the ride.
I was hungry as well.
Yeah, I get it.
This meetup was in Kasturuba Road, which is in MG Road nearby. Yeah. So then what happened? I was waiting, and then all these people arrived. They had told me to wear basic gears. Some good jacket and a helmet and any gloves which. This was very specifically told by the admin that we want safety as a priority, because without riding gears we are not allowing anybody to come and ride with us. So I had an old jacket of mine, so I had to wear that, and then
so this is not a riding jacket.
No, it's not a riding jacket. It's like just
a wind cheater.
Like a wind cheater, yeah. It's a basic jacket which I had. So I had done that, and I got a gloves actually. So just for that ride. So then what happened? I went there and I saw all the people coming, and they were like all dressed in. Like it was again a surprise for me. All the bikes were like damn clean. All full shiny and everything. Even my bike was clean. Yeah, it was very pretty new that time. But these people had the bikes from past 2-3 years, I think.
Yet it was all
it was all clean, and these people had good helmets.
Okay.
I had a basic helmet back then. It was not such. Like since we didn't know about what those helmets are.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all very surprise for me, like watching all these people come, and it was so good to look at. All the bikes, they were coming and parking all the bikes, and first thing what they did was put a sticker on my bike.
Oh, okay. First things first, yeah.
Mars Bandit logo.
Correct.
Then that was really a moment to remember. Yeah.
Good.
Because the bike was getting stickered. Yeah. So that thing happened. Then we had to start the ride, and usually I don't want to tell about it. Like everybody knows what happens in the ride and everything. So I came back from the ride. So everybody started,
So where was this ride up? I'm sorry, but again, where was this ride to?
So this ride was to Banarghata, like I told.
Okay, so this was the activist.
The Banarghata National Park. So they had an event organized there and everything. So,
okay, yeah.
So that's a big story again. Yeah. How exactly I got into motorcycling? So it was a day when me and my father decided to ride. So he was like, "I'll be the pillion." I was for a guy who is very new to motorcycling, and the first bike itself is a Pulsar 220, and the second ride was Bangalore to Coimbatore. Imagine 380 kilometers, to ride from Bangalore to Coimbatore. So we planned to, we didn't have anything, the specific time we had to leave and everything. So we left at 3 o'clock.
Okay. Early morning?
Not early morning.
Noon?
It was afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So as I told, right, we didn't have any, knowledge about all these things. So it almost took us, you won't believe me, it took us 15 to 16 hours to reach Coimbatore.
Oh shit, okay.
Like as I told, right, we used to take break every 50 kilometers and everything. So then once we were back from that ride, I wanted to explore how this was the ride which changed my perspective from short rides to long rides. This was the starting stage of it. So then I approached my friends and club members, and they were like, how to ride such a long distance and everything. So then they gave me a few tips and tricks, how it's done. So second ride I had to take the bike alone.
Okay.
So I went a solo. I was I was at college only at that time also. So I've been riding from the college days. So I took the bike. So that time I had a newfound passion. Like, I was already into photography. Like, it was, hobby type.
Yeah.
I was doing it for hobby. So then, while going to that destination, so like I was like, why don't we click pictures of the bike, while going? It's also a part of the ride, right? So I started clicking pictures of the motorcycle, like few pictures, and then started posting it in social media and other things. People started responding there, and nice good pictures of the bike. So that is when SK Motography started, like photography and with motorcycle, it's as I told you, it's Motography. So this started when we went for this ride, and when I started riding solo. So that was a time when I got into photography. So this was still in college, yeah.
Okay.
So I used to click pictures of the bikes. Then all these rides and everything happened. So then slowly, other rides were happening. Short rides from the club, and we, our friends. What I used to do? I used to take all the tips points from the club, and I used to explain it to my friends, and they were like, we have to ride in lane formation and everything. So I used to not only like kept it to myself, like the safety riding. So I used to promote it to my friends as well. Safety is very good actually. It's a part of motorcycling. So safety is very important.
Yeah.
Not many of us were educated about safety gears and everything. So I had an opportunity to ride with these people, and I had to pass on that knowledge to other people,
Friends of yours,
friends
first
and
circle,
everybody.
everything.
So that's how it started, and after that got into work, and then one fine day I realized that my work is gonna be something about photography and everything. So after I finished college and started riding, so even then also it was all about clicking pictures of the motorcycle and everything. So then it all started that time. So one fine day I was like, why don't we do it as a profession?
Okay, how did you come to this thought? Like, what
So
made you think of it
it
like
was
that?
all a spark.
Okay.
Which again, like I go by my instincts always. I don't really plan something.
Okay.
So when I was working, like I had the freedom of to ride anywhere and everything.
Explore new places
Explore
and
new
stuff.
places and everything. So I did get my first camera at the time.
Okay.
So after I joined my work, so then it was all about taking the camera. Just I was not riding for the sake of riding. It was also 50-50. Keep it this way, like 50% for the riding pleasure and 50% was to take pictures of the places where I'm riding.
Yeah, correct.
So then all these started, and then one fine day I decided, let us get into photography and everything. So when I told about photography, right? Then why don't we do automotive photography?
Okay.
So after that, it's again a big story, which
I know.
we will have more episodes about how we biking really changed us, and like how we got into our professions and everything, like what we are currently doing. And so that's it. I hope so. It was
Yeah, it's a good. See, it's a good experience. You would have had a lot of
correct.
great stories to tell and great stories to learn from.
Correct.
Again, coming back to the podcast, the agenda of this whole podcast is to discuss stories like this. What made you choose that motorcycle?
Correct.
What made you to choose like if you dive even more deeper, there's still more like multiple niches with respect to enduro riding, adventure riding, off-road, circuit riding. So a lot of people like us who are into motorcycles are actually into all of these things. Like they have their own passion, they have their own calling. So this platform, this is like a platform to all of us to come here, share those stories. There's a lot of people who have been following the motorsports itself, or the automotive industry itself, and for them, they really don't have a clue, like, okay, what exactly should I do? Example, there's a lot of like the influencer marketing is happening. Influencers, like, people think, okay, this guy or this girl is riding so much, there's been giving sponsored or something, but they don't know how to get there, so they might be trying to get all of those. So this we shall be using this as a platform to educate the people, like, who are into riding, right? So if you want to learn how to ride yourself, better riding tips and tricks, we'll discuss, because we've been there, like, riding for the past 8-10 years. 9-10 years, whatever. So we have had our own share of those crashes, maybe unlearning, relearning, all of those things,
technical stuff.
Exactly. So there will be some point of time where we would have been wrenched on our own motorcycles. Some small breakdown happens, fix it, repair it on the go, and then continue the ride and everything. So we'll be having not just us, we'll be having our stories discussed, and we'll also have a lot of other people come in and share their experiences.
Like we told, we'll be talking about enduro riding and different styles of riding. So we'll be having people from all the other
So it's not going to be just the
only about
influencers or experts or famous or something. So we'll even have a conversation with someone who's just starting, like, how is it going for you? Okay. It's not that let's say we have a YouTuber who's already has a million subscribers or someone. We can have a YouTuber who's just starting now with 100, 200, 300 subscribers. He can tell us, like, what's his story, like, what's his journey been, what's his learnings, and even a new rider. So this is all about motorcycle podcasts. We'll be having a series of this. Every week there will be a new episode. Me and Shashi will be here. We'll be having this discussion. We'll have a lot of things to discuss.
And also we'll be having more surprises coming up, like in content ways as well. So this is since it's a pilot batch, so we will have a few more updates regarding this, like when it is happening and what. So I think you can expect some like how to put it across.
Tell me.
Tell them, I think we will have some exciting things happening.
So what Shashi is trying to say here is it's not just about the discussions. It's going to be something like entertaining, it's going to be educating, and it's going to be engaging. Like engaging part, we would like you to let us know, like, how was this podcast, the pilot episode, like this is raw, unscripted, it's just
uncut,
exactly, and it went with the flow. So let us know how it felt, like, what do you want to suggest, what do you want to criticize, anything, let us know in the comments, and keep us posted. So anything else before we wind up the show, Shashi? The first episode, before we wind it up?
I hope so. This is not the first and the last.
Definitely not. This will be the first, but definitely not the last. There's still more coming in. There's still in the pipeline, so we have it all.
We got some things cooking for you as well.
So it's not like this is what we'll do. Like it's just that blabber things out. We'll let you know as and when the time is right, and we'll also let let you know about the social media or any other forums that you can connect with us. So comment, like, share, DMs, everything. So
thank you guys.
This is Mithun signing off.
Guys had a good time listening to our stories. So see you.
Yeah.
Bye then.